Love Beyond Boundaries. Chapter 1. The Meeting. Meera was a quiet girl from a small town in Rajasthan. She had big dreams, but lived a simple life. After completing her master's in English literature, she got a job at a publishing house in Jaipur. Her days were filled with reading manuscripts and sipping cutting chai from the roadside stall. One rainy afternoon, while reviewing a pile of rejected poems, her boss introduced her to Arjun Malhotra. He was a well-known writer, visiting the office to discuss his new book. "Meera, meet Arjun ji. You'll be helping him with editing and coordination." Her boss smiled. Meera extended her hand shyly. "Namaste, sir. I've read your books. I'm a fan." Arjun smiled warmly. He was in his early 40s with gentle eyes and a calm voice. "Thank you, Meera. Let's create something beautiful together." Chapter 2. The Bond Grows. Over the weeks, Meera and Arjun spent a lot of time together working on his novel. He appreciated her eye for detail, and she admired his wisdom. They talked about literature, music, even their childhood memories. Arjun often spoke about his wife Radhika and their 2 daughters who lived in Delhi. Meera listened quietly, her heart conflicted. She had started feeling something for him, a soft, slow emotion that she couldn't name. One evening, after a long discussion about a character in his book, Arjun looked at her and said, "You understand emotions better than most people I've met. Thank you, Meera." Her heart skipped a beat. Chapter 3. Confusion. Meera tried to keep her feelings in check. She reminded herself that Arjun was married, but emotions don't listen to logic. She started avoiding him. When he called, she made excuses. When he visited the office, she stayed busy. Arjun noticed. One day, he found her alone in the library. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked gently. She looked away. "No, I just need some space." He sighed. "Meera, I care for you, maybe more than I should, but I am married and I can't change that." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Then why did you let this happen?" He had no answer. Chapter 4. Distance. After that conversation, Arjun returned to Delhi. Their work continued over phone and emails, but the warmth was missing. Meera threw herself into work. She even considered moving to another city. Her heart ached, but she knew she had to be strong. She spent sleepless nights writing poetry that never made it to her blog. Her words carried pain, unspoken, unanswered pain. Her friends noticed the change in her, but she simply smiled and brushed it off. One day, she received a handwritten letter from Arjun. "Meera, I think of you often. You brought a freshness into my life that I hadn't felt in years. But I also know it was unfair to you. I'm sorry for crossing a line. You deserve someone who can be fully yours. I hope you find that person. Yours, Arjun." The letter felt like both a farewell and an apology. Chapter 5. Healing. The letter brought closure. Meera cried, but she felt lighter. She began to reconnect with herself, reading books just for pleasure, walking in the park, painting old clay pots with vibrant colors. Slowly, life began to bloom around her again. She traveled to Kerala for a book fair, started writing poetry again under a pseudonym, and even adopted a street puppy she named Golu. Golu became her little companion, always wagging his tail and reminding her of life's small joys. At the book fair, while sipping filter coffee at a cafe, a man named Rahul Sharma sat at her table by mistake. "Sorry, I thought this was my friend's table," he laughed. She smiled. "No problem. Want to share the corner until your friend arrives?" They talked for hours. Rahul was a software engineer from Pune, visiting for work. He was kind, respectful, and had an easy charm. He didn't try to impress her. He just listened, really listened. When he left, he said, "It was lovely meeting you, Meera. Maybe fate messed up our seating arrangement on purpose." They exchanged numbers. Chapter 6. A New Beginning. Rahul and Mira stayed in touch. What began as friendly chats turned into deep conversations. They discussed books, travel dreams, life philosophies. Rahul never pushed her to open up, but she found herself doing it anyway. One evening, when Mira shared her past with Arjun, Rahul said simply, "It shows how deeply you can love. That's not something to be ashamed of." That night, Mira cried. Not out of sadness, but relief. Rahul visited Jaipur a few times, and Mira went to Pune. They explored forts, temples, quiet cafes. Her world was no longer haunted by what could have been, but filled with what was slowly blooming. One evening, under a sky full of stars, Rahul said, "I don't know about destiny, but I know I want you in my life. Will you marry me, Mira?" Tears of joy rolled down her cheeks. "Yes, Rahul, I will." Chapter 7. Peace. A year later, Mira and Rahul got married in a quiet ceremony in Udaipur. It was a small gathering, just close friends and family. Golu wore a little red sherwani and barked happily. Arjun sent a short message, "Wishing you a life full of love and laughter. You deserve every happiness." Mira smiled as she read it. She didn't reply, but she whispered a silent thank you to the wind. She had loved deeply, fallen hard, and emerged stronger. Love had once confused her, pained her, but it also led her to strength, clarity, and eventually peace. Sometimes love doesn't mean possession. Sometimes it's just a beautiful chapter, not the whole story. And Mira, the girl with silent strength, finally began writing her own. Chapter 5. Healing. The letter brought closure. Mira cried, but she felt lighter. She began to